the outset, I extend my pranams to the lotus feet of His Holiness Mahaswamiji, Jagat Guru Sri Sri Shivratri Deshikandra Mahaswamiji, the Pontiff of JSS Mat Mysuru, and President Jagat Guru Sri Shivratrishwara Mahavidyapita Mysuru, and seek his divine blessings for making this event a great success and memorable one. The resource person and the subject expert who has been invited to speak on the LoRa, the long range low power communications for IoT applications, Dr. Alabu Meenakshi, who is associated with the IEEE Madras section and member of the executive committee, and also is an important person on the IEEE Women's in Engineering. I, on my own behalf, on behalf of our management and the JSS Academy of Technical Education, Noida, extend a hearty welcome to Dr. Alabu Meenakshi Madam. I would like to congratulate Dr. Sanjeev Kumar Sharma, Head of the Department of Electrical Engineering, and the coordinators of the IEEE chapter of the JSS Academy of Technical Education, Noida, Gunjan Varshne, and Dr. Sanjiba Bisoi, faculty members in the Department of EE at our institution, for their wonderful planning and execution of conducting this program, which is very important, and utilizing the time during this lockdown period due to the unprecedented COVID-19 pandemic. I also take this opportunity to congratulate our student members and the office bearers of the IEEE chapter of JSS Academy of Technical Education, Noida, for taking the initiative, for coordinating and organizing this event. I am told that there are as many as 364 participants, students from all over the country, and there are as many as 9 participants from across the globe, overseas. It's a matter of great pride for all of us that at this hour of this, the unprecedented lockdown caused by the COVID-19 pandemic, an important lecture on the long-range low-power communication for IoT application has been planned by our students. Our students are dynamic, hardworking, and very disciplined under the able guidance of Dr. Sanjeev Kumar Sharma and the faculty coordinators, Dr. Gunjan Varshne and Dr. Sanjiba Kumar Bisoi. They have planned this activity. I congratulate all the faculty members, including head of the department, and our student office bearers and the members of the IEEE chapter. I wish this event a great success, and I also thank the organizers for inviting me for this event and giving me this opportunity of saying few words on this important occasion. Wish you all good luck, and we pray to God for your safety and good health at these difficult times, and wish you good luck for this program. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. Now I would welcome our esteemed guest, Dr. Alagu Meenakshi Muthia ma'am. She received her PhD and ME degrees from Anna University, Chennai, and her BE from Madurai Kamaraj University, and is currently serving as an associate professor in the Department of ECE, Umaraguru College of Technology, Coimbatore, Tamil Nadu, India. As an active volunteer in IEEE, she has involved herself as a chair in Junior Einstein track in IEEE YESIST 12 since 2017. Also, as IEEE WIE EXCOM member in IEEE Madras section for the past 2 years. Please take the charge, ma'am, and share your views.
Good evening, everyone. I'm very pleasure to handle this section, and I'm very much thankful to the management of JSS Academy of Education Noida. And I personally thank Pujan Mahaswami, who has been associated with me for having this opportunity and interact with the participants from various places. Global participation is told by Principal Sir, and I'm happy to hear that. And I thank everyone for providing me this opportunity, sir.
Welcome, ma'am. Welcome, and please, you may proceed.
Hello. Hello. Ma'am. Okay. Okay. Is my voice audible?
Yes,
Very much
ma'am.
audible. Due to audio link problem, my voice could not be audible, I think. I repeat now. Wonderful evening for you all. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to JSS Academy of Technical Education Noida, as well as in particular to IEEE Student Branch Coordinator Vijay Varshne, who has been associated with me in linking me towards this webinar. And previously, we were associated with these IEEE activities. And student members were also very much enthusiastic in linking me towards this program. I am very much thankful to the management and also to the participants for giving this opportunity in this wonderful. If it is okay, then we can start the presentation. Thank you. My screen is visible.
Yes, ma'am, your screen is visible.
Thank you. In today's session, we are going to discuss about, I think the audio is echoing. Is there any possibility to adjust the audio? Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you are.
Voice is having echo.
Ma'am, maybe it's because there is some network issue, I think. Because of the weather, maybe.
Okay, then I have to proceed with this item. Okay, in today's session, we are going to discuss about the LoRa, wireless communication technology, which is very much useful for establishing connectivity towards IoT and machine-to-machine applications. Today, we are having a lot of monitoring applications, wherein coverage range is going to be a very big problem. For that particularly, this LoRa is a new technology. LoRa stands for low range, it is long range, low power communication. And I'm Dr. M. Meenakshi from Kumaraguru College of Technology. Myself as a university ambassador, this LoRaWAN Academy, as well as involving myself in IEEE volunteering activities. I'm happy to share my knowledge with you all. And my mail ID has been shared with you, and you can discuss with me regarding any technical further details or associated work we can perform together. And in today's session, we are going to discuss about what is meant by basically this LoRa and how a network is created using Things Network, Things Network, TTN, and how a overall global network can be established for various IoT machine-to-machine applications. All these things. So while discussing this long-range communication, this is one of the wireless technology, and I have listed some of the wireless technologies which we were using continuously. Zigbee, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and WiMAX, a lot of wireless technologies are available. How we are going to choose a particular technology for a particular application, that is going to be very much important. It is going to be based on three important variables. Decide on. Hello. Can I continue?
Yes, ma'am, please continue.
So here we will be categorizing the various wireless technologies based on these three variables: range, energy consumption, data rate, and bandwidth. These three are the important variables based on which we have to choose a particular wireless technology, right? So here I'm going to present you a graph in the choice of range and the bandwidth, depending on that what are the technologies available. First is your RFID NFC, which is going to use a very small range as well as the bandwidth used for RFID is also small. This we will be using in day-to-day applications, such as all the departmental store products which has been purchased or any tag which has been used for various applications. We'll be using this RFID, which is very well known to us. And the next one is Bluetooth. Comparatively for the Bluetooth, the range will be little larger, as well as the bandwidth will be slightly higher than CPE, but it is less than Wi-Fi. And this we will be knowing that using this Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, and various technologies through our mobile we are using today, and will be used to this, and we may not discuss more on this. And here there's a difference. Bluetooth is a P2P technology, while Wi-Fi is going to be the access point to any device connected technology. Here, comparatively, the bandwidth will be higher as well as the range will be slightly larger than. And here the power consumption will also be known. That has to be. And next, if we are going to say SDQ, it is a low power application, but it is having a shorter range compared to as well as Wi-Fi, and it is low data rate, and it is having a very advantage of connecting 65,000 devices. This is a very big advantage. And coming to the next one, 3G and 4G LTE, and all these things are having high range and bandwidth, but without these cellular towers, we may not be connected. That's with this 3G technology. Here, this is LPWAN. This is low power wide area network. Here, you will have more range, but the bandwidth is less. And this you will be able to connect without the cellular technology. You'll be able to connect it with various devices. This is a very big advantage. We will be concentrating on this particular area, LPWAN. And here I have displayed you a wireless comparison chart, which specifies the various factors which are important for choosing wireless technology. Based on the frequency, type of security provided, and then the type of network that can be established, and what is the power usage, what is the speed the data can be transmitted, what is the range coverage of data, what is the type of network or how many devices can be connected to particular technology, and what are the chip and module that has been used, and what is the advantages or significant features of each and every technology has been listed. And previously, I have worked with the 6LoWPAN, which is IPv6 low power personal area network. This is my research area initially, where it has low power data rate communication, but it does not have long range communication. Comparatively, this is a new technology, LoRaWAN. It is going to be a long range, low speed, low power communication. So it is having a lot of advantages compared to various other technologies. Power consumption is less. And also, particular applications, we can establish this network without the regular internet or regular cellular technology is not needed for this. And we will particularly discuss on this LPWAN, which is low power wireless wide area network. Here, the battery which is going to be used is going to be used for many years. How this is possible? Only when the power consumption is less. And also, this data has to reach a longer range. Longer range in the sense, in an urban city environment, it can be around 250 kilometers. And in the rural area, it could be more than 10 kilometers, 10 to 50 kilometers. This could be possible with this low power technologies. What are these low power wide area network technologies? They are used for IoT and machine to machine applications and for covering several kilometers using star topology. There are three members under this low power wireless area network. One is Sigfox, other one is NB-IoT, narrowband IoT, and the other one is all these three are low power wireless wide area network. We will be comparing these three techniques and why we are going for LoRa. I'll explain. Sigfox, it is founded in 2009 and it is using unlicensed band in the sub-gigahertz frequency and it is used internationally. But comparatively, data rate will be very less. We will compare it next slide as well. Before that, if we talk about this narrowband IoT, this uses the regular cellular network and operates in the licensed spectrum, and it surely needs the telecom network to be connected, and it is standardized by 3GPP. And here, next one is here LoRa. It has been developed in 2012 and it is developed by Semtech in association with Estility and IBM Research, and it replaces the unlicensed band. And it uses the sub-gigahertz spectrum, less than 1 gigahertz. And the main advantage is it is using a cheap spectrum modulation. And it is robust to interference. These are the topics, these are the important significant features of this LoRa. We will explain it. And while comparing these three technologies, if you see Sigfox, NB-IoT, LoRa, everything is using a coverage range around 15 to 20 kilometers using these three networks. But if you discuss on Sigfox and LoRa using licensed band, this is a very big advantage. We need not pay for the bandwidth which we are using. Next one is regarding the signal bandwidth. For 0.1 gigahertz, whereas for LoRa it is 122. Always best, but it has to be paid. It's 180 hertz. And data rate also, if you compare, it is 100 per second for your Sigfox. And LoRa, it is 18 to 37 kilobits per second. And that is advantageous. But still, NB-IoT is advantageous, 200 kbps. But one is better. And apart from that, the quality of service is also good in your NB-IoT. Payment is there. Comparing the non-paid Sigfox, LoRa, and cancellation is also possible. And discussing LoRaWAN, which is a software protocol that utilizes the LoRa physical layer. I am here going to explain this software protocol regarding the various layers. The brown color layer.
Excuse me, ma'am, 1 minute.
And above that, the three layers, blue color, shows the medium access layer.
Excuse me, ma'am, 1 minute, please. 1 minute.
Yes.
Ma'am, your voice is a little bit echoing. Please, can you please check your internet connection once more? Because there two participants are having problem.
Voice is echoing from the starting point. Whoever is speaking is not clear.
Ma'am, you can recheck your connection, ma'am, please, once again.
Ma'am, you can use your headphones for the lecture. I think that problem can be by that.
Okay.
Actually, some echo problem is there.
Please. Pardon me. Hello. Am I audible now?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Very well.
Now, whether the echoing is reduced?
Yes, ma'am. It is reduced. Now you can continue.
Okay. Whether the screen is now shared?
Ma'am, it is visible.
Okay, let us continue.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So here we are going to discuss about the various layers of this LoRaWAN. LoRa modulation. Even now I hear my echo. Whether it is okay for the participants?
Yes, ma'am. Now it's clear.
Okay. So here we are going to discuss about the physical layer. That is the important. And below that we have various frequency ranges. It has been for every region there is a different frequency going to be used. For Europe it is 868 megahertz. Another frequency is also being used in the Europe region, 433 megahertz. In America, US, it is used 915 megahertz. In Australia, it is 430 megahertz. In India, it is 868. For each area, there is a specific frequency allocated. And when we purchase the device, from where we are going to matters, because the device will work for that frequency alone. That is a very important one. And here, while discussing about the physical layer, the main advantage of LoRa modulation is it is using a new modulation technique called chip spread spectrum technique. Spectrum is comparatively using the method of the direct spread spectrum technique, but slightly it is variation. It is using chip pulse. What is the chip pulse is? It is a wideband linear frequency modulated pulse, which is going to use low power usage and low data rate with a frequency 2.45 gigahertz band. It is you'll be having a up chip as well as down chip available. This particular chip will be used for spreading the sequence, and that is the specialization of the physical layer. We will discuss in detail in the next slides. And the next layer is the media access layer. In the media access layer, we can divide the device into three types: Class A, Class B, and Class C. Class A, it is going to be using a basic model, and here the device can receive the downlink only with after sending an uplink. It can receive a downlink. And while discussing about Class B, it having a beacon type device, and Class C, it is a free, which can be used with both uplink and downlink at any time. So communication between the device and the gateway is possible always for Class C. We will discuss in detail about this as well later. And other MAC options are above this, and any application can be this particular device. So while discussing about the modulation technology, here the frequencies are going to be converted to or modulated, and it is going to be transmitted. This we will be clearly studying regarding the Shannon-Hartley theorem. You might be come across already. What is this Shannon-Hartley theorem is? The maximum rate at which information can be transmitted over a communication channel of a specified bandwidth in the presence of noise. We call this here Shannon-Hartley theorem. It is based on the channel capacity theorem, Shannon channel capacity theorem. This we might be remembering. C equal to bandwidth into log base 2 1 plus S by N, where S is the signal strength and N is the noise strength. So with that, we might be already knowing that on comparing the signal to noise ratio, it is approximately equal to channel band, that is C by B ratio. So if you are going to have higher signal to noise ratio, your capacity will also be higher. Having this in mind, we can discuss about this physical layer communication. You can see a diagram here. This is for a transmitter where the data and the local oscillator, which is creating a chip signal. You can see a chip signal diagram. This will be having, that is increasing when the time increases. If you could see, the signal frequency is increasing. This is called as up chip. Likewise, down chip will be reverse of this, and such a signal will be modulated with the data. That modulated signal will be provided to your amplifier system, and that will be transmitted through the antenna. And discussing these spectrum technique, you might be understanding already what are the advantages of spread spectrum. It is the interference level will be very much reduced. Compared to direct spread spectrum, this chip spread spectrum technique is started from 1940s, and it was particularly used in the military applications, and now it is available for various other applications. Main thing, this chipset spectrum provides channel degrading parameters are very much reduced. What are those parameters is multipass and then fading, Doppler effect, in-band jamming. All those interference are totally removed in this chipset spectrum. This is a very big advantage, and it is used in the physical layer for the LoRa. And here I have shown the frequency versus power spectral density curve of the spread spectrum technique, which we will be usually using. A narrowband signal will be spread into bandwidth, and that will be transmitted. The next slide shows the relationship between time domain and frequency domain of a chip signal. The up chip will have increase in frequency, and down chip will have decrease in frequency with respect to time. And if you consider the frequency domain signal, you could see a constant amplitude throughout the entire frequency and decrease in frequency. So abrupt change is possible with this chip signal. And the synchronization pulse will be the usual. The sync pulse is going to have a similar structure, you could see. So similar to that of a sync pulse, your chip up chip and down chip can be used for modulating this. This is advantage. Next, we are to discuss about LoRaWAN, that is your long range wide area network. This as communication which is standardized with the structure of data packets and how these packets are going to be processed and how the messages are encrypted by this. The architecture will be slightly different, and you could see such an architecture here. The end nodes can be used for measuring various environmental parameters such as gas monitoring, vending machine, trash container, and various applications we can use. All automation applications, industrial automation applications, and these devices can be used. And this end can be connected, or they'll be able to communicate to the gateway or this is otherwise called a concentrator, which is a LoRaWAN device. Here, the communication or the connectivity is like a star topology, you could see. data that has been sensed by the end nodes will be received by the gateway, and the gateway is now connected to the network server, and the network server will be connected to the application server. And here comes our TCP/IP or internet connection. Your 3G or your Ethernet or any backhaul technology can be used to connect the gateway to the network server, and the network server will be associated. This network server is having a lot of applications. It will be responsible for categorizing messages and for what purpose a particular device is going to be used. All these things will be decided by this network server. The network server manages the network. It filters the received data packets. It is responsible for security check. This application is going to perform. And this network server will be connected to the application server, where every application will have a separate server, and the data packet will be contained to that particular server. And this will be linked to network, TTN, the things network. So here let us discuss about this infrastructure in clear. The elements of this infrastructure are the end device, gateway, network server. And the network server will be connected to the application server or any. First, discuss about this end device or device node. This is a event-driven or scheduled device. Why I am saying this is, depending on the event is being happened, it can be transmitting the data, or 5 minutes or every 10 minutes it can transmit the data. So it can be a scheduled transmission. So that transmitted data can be transmitted to the gateway, and the information from the gateway can be received as well by this device. And the sensing capability and the computing power will be comparatively high for this device, and the batteries will be lasting for several months and months to years. It is possible. Nearly, if you purchase a device and deploy it, it could be possible, depending on the scheduling, it could be possible to 10 single device can be used with the battery, depending on the choice, whether we are going to use in the class A mode or class B mode or class C mode. And by communication is possible. And here, while discussing about this device, it is a very low power consumption device, and the latency for down message. Here we have to discuss about two links. One is uplink from the device to the gateway, and from the gateway to the device, it is called as down. So here the downlink messages will be depending on the choice of three classes. Here you could see the downlink communication latency versus battery life. The three classes are specified. Let us see the first one, class A. It is battery powered sensor. Here it is more energy efficient, because only when an event has been identified, it will transmit the on uplink is created, there will be a downlink from the gateway to the end device. So that receiving will be taking place after transmission. And if you are discussing about the class B mode, there will be a possibility that apart from every time there is a reception after transmission, whenever the gateway want to communicate some information, it will send a beacon and it is synchronized with the end device, and then it will receive the data. Whenever data need to be transmitted, the class B mode can be chosen. Third one is the class C mode, where it is always powered. It is main powered actuators. So actuation is possible without power constraint, because at any time you can contact the end device, and there is no latency for the downlink communication. And this is a very big advantage, that any device can be used in any of the modes, A, B, or C. We have to configure that mode while establishing the network. We have to configure the mode. As I have told already, the class A device can send the data at any time but receive only after an uplink, and it is very battery efficient. And class B, it specific intervals it can receive data, and the beaconing method will be used, but it will consume more energy than class A mode. And class, it is always in the continuous listening mode, so it consumes more energy and receives anytime it can receive the data. To discuss is the gateway, and it is a hotspot or the access point where a single gateway can receive the device, because it is a long range communication. It may be for its own application or for another application, but it can receive the packet. Here the gateway does not have any knowledge about what packet it has to receive. It will receive all the data packets, and it will demodulate the received signal to binary form, and it will be able to connect to the network server through any one of the black hole connect through Ethernet or Wi-Fi or cellular. Here only we will enter into the cellular communication. Before that, there is no need for any cellular communication. And what are the metadata that can be measured using these gateways is RSSI can be received, and SNR can be received, and TOA can be measured, and the channel capacity and data rate, everything can be measured in the gateway. And the gateway, it can send the data packets to the network server. The network server could be either private or public, or it can be hosted in a cloud as well. And these gateways are transparent, and that's what I told. This network server is having the capacity for identifying which are the packets for particular application. Gateways will send all the packets to the network server. It will not classify what it has received. And roaming is possible for the end device. Why I am saying roaming is possible is the end device is in always the coverage range, because we have a long range coverage range. So the end device could be in mobility, no problem. So the gateways, minimum, at least we need 3 gateways. Why I am saying 3 gateways is, in order to locate an end device from where it is coming, at least we need 3 gateways, or otherwise a single gateway for an application is enough. And regarding the gateways, what are the advantages of these gateways is, it is a multi-channel, multi-modem transceiver is used here. So multi-channel in the sense it can be 8, 16 or 64 channels. All the channels can be able to receive the data, and it is having a multi-modem capacity. So modulation of the packets can also be possible for all the channels, and thousands of devices can be connected to the gateway, and listening to the multiple channels simultaneously is also possible by the gateway. And the regional parameters are aligned to LoRa Alliance, and that is a very big. And while discussing about the network, total network is classified into 3: network server, application server, and joint server. All these 3 servers are responsible for configuring the radio parameters, device activation, message in checking, and then session management, as well as the application payload encryption. All these things will be taken care by the network server. Here, all the frequency that is being used, unlicensed bandwidth, will be less than 1 gigahertz. The ISM band, that is your industrial, scientific, and medical applications, we can use this spectrum without any cost. That is, it is free to use. And while discussing about the International Telecommunication Union, it is divided into 3 regions. By the colors, it will be differentiated. Based on that, the particular frequency has been allocated here. For European, as I told already, it is 868 megahertz. For American ITU, it is 915 megahertz. For India, it is 868 megahertz. Apart from the 868 megahertz, there is a range of frequency. For India, it is 860 to 67. All these license-free channels can be used for any application that is a broad spectrum which is available for usage of various applications. And while discussing about the regional parameter, for each and every region, separate frequency that has been used, and it has been specified by the common name you could see. EU 868, Australia it is 915, Canada it is 470, and India it is 865. Likewise, the device will be used under this frequency, and we have to take care of that. And while discussing about the regulation and restriction, each and every region is having a specific regulation for its own transmission. Europe stress on the duty cycle limitation, whereas America concentrates on the dwell time limitation. That is, the latency must be less than, communication latency must be less than 400 milliseconds. Globally, usually we will concentrate on transmission power per channel bandwidth. And in Japan, they particularly concentrate on listen before talk. So these are the regulations taken for each country. So while discussing about the data transmission, the main transmission will be from the end device to the gateway and from the gateway to the network server. This has to be kept in mind. And from the gateway, you will have synchronized clocks. The clock will be up to nanosecond synchronization is possible. And so the data will be received in perfect. And while discussing about the data transmission from the end device to the gateways, if you have 4 gateways, the end device will be able to transmit its packet to all the gateways. Whoever is in the communication range, all will receive the data. And if you have many gateways, the main advantage of having multiple gateways is localization, geolocalization of a particular end device could be possible, where a particular device is located. While it is in mobility, where it is located, we can identify by having multiple gateways. And from the gateway to the network server, the next level of data transmission will be taking place. And while having that transmission in the network server, it will be taking care of all these facilities. First, it will manage the network, and it will have the record of time of arrival of each and every packet. It has the redundant received packets, and it maintains the signal strength, and it will be performing security check. The entire transmission is AES standard secure. So you'll have all the data with secured communication. That security check will be taken care here. And the acknowledgement to the optimal gateway will be scheduled by the server, and the data rate is also adaptive. And here one big advantage I told is handover is needed. What is handover is, in a regular telecommunication network, when we are traveling from one cell to the another cell, handover has to take place with breaking our call while we were in mobility. But here, since we are discussing about long range handover problems occur here, that's a very big advantage. And it can calculate the signal to noise ratio as well in the network server. As I told already, geolocalization could be possible. We need at a minimum of 3 gateways to locate a particular end device, and the accuracy will be improved accordingly if you have more gateways. For a single application, many end nodes with a single gateway itself is enough. And as we have already discussed, the security is mutual authentication is possible. From the end device to the gateway, it has to be authenticated, and then only the data packet will be able to be transmitted. And integrity protection will be there, and confidentiality will also be maintained in this LoRaWAN communication. And while discussing about this transmission, end devices can send data at any time. That is the very big advantage. Always it can be in the transmit mode, but the end device will go to a listening mode depending upon whether it is a class A, class B, or class C mode. Depending on that, its listening capacity will vary. And while discussing about the actuation, that is from the downlink, it will be carried out using OTAA. What is this OTAA? Is over the air activate. Uplink will be from the end device to the gateway, and from the gateway to the end device, the downlink will be happening. All these things will be based on this over the air activation. This will be happening, and end devices will be always in the sleep mode, and that is why it is battery efficient always. And while discussing event which has been proved by this LoRaWAN Academy, it has proved a world record. How much particular communication is established. It has been made a trial in the 26th August 2015. They made a real-time application, and the Things Network were supporting this event. And for 3 hours, the communication is possible at an altitude of 38 kilometers. That is above the sea level. That is from the ground level, above the ground level, it is 38 kilometers. So if you are going to communicate with such an altitude, 48 different gateways with 25 milliwatt transmitting power, minimum transmitting power. And here we were using 14 dBm. It is dBm is your signal strength measurement. That is decibels in milliwatts. It has been specified. 14 dBm is possible while the information. This is a world record that has been proven by LoRaWAN Academy. And here the received packets are transmitted same altitude over a distance of 702 kilometers. It is 436 miles. This is also a second world record. It has been created. The LoRaWAN Academy has done this. The main key features of this LoRaWAN Academy is it is providing long range. It is having very low power consumption. Secure communication is established. Standardized for the data packet transmission. Geolocalization is also possible. End devices can be in mobility, and high capacity data transmission and cost. These are the very significant features of this LoRa technology. And in our department, we have purchased this LoRaWAN devices, and we were doing various researches, and we were about to launch the LoRaWAN Academy itself in our college shortly. We were working on that, and we were working in various applications using this LoRa devices. Low power IoT you can use for various applications such as dairy, wind energy, home automation, industrial automation, various logistics applications, shipping applications. Yeah, everywhere we can have this LoRa. IoT is possible. LoRa can be a very good candidate. And regarding the various applications such as precision agriculture, maternal e-health monitoring, smart metering application, smart parking solution, social distancing. We were working on this during this situation. This LoRa devices can be used to identify social distancing alert device. It can be used as a distancing alert device. Anybody coming with a variation in temperature, the alert can be given that the particular person has to be taken care, or we have to maintain high social distance with that person. All these alert messages can be carried out. We were working on this shortly in this COVID situation. In the lockdown period, we were working on this particular project with the support of our students. And maternal e-health monitoring, is an application we have already implemented with a prototype model in the lab. Here, ambulance will have a LoRa module, end module, and it will send the GPS location uh, of the ambulance to the police station as well as the hospital on picking a particular patient. Uh, Here we took a particular application of maternal e-health. So we took women information about the health of the women, and that will be measured in the ambulance by the person who is associated with the ambulance. That is a caretaker who is coming in the ambulance will measure the various health parameters of the women, fetus movement, and then temperature, and then blood pressure, and then glucose monitoring. All these things will be parameters will be measured from the women, or it can be used for any accident case as well. The details of the patient will be sent to the hospital as well as to the police station, and the hospital will be pre-planning for the treatment. And if the patient is having a blood leakage, or what is the conscious level of the patient will be understood from the caregiver, and that information will be used to intimate the blood bank if the blood is needed. When the patient reaches the hospital, all necessary treatment uh, that is the established facilities will be ready for that patient. And while the ambulance is in mobility, traffic signal will be accordingly such a way that the RFID tag associated with the um, ambulance to the traffic signal will be connected, and it will be providing clearing the traffic for the ambulance for the movement, and the end device could reach without any traffic problem. It could reach the hospital in the prescribed time. While discussing about this IoT architecture, LoRa end node will be middleware, where through the LoRa gateway, it is using a MQTT broker. What is this MQTT broker is? It is a SIM-based low power wide area IoT communication service, which is available across 600 plus GSM carriers in 190 countries. So any MQTT broker can be used, and no regular cellular network is needed. Through this, the LoRa server can be connected through any server, and the communication is possible. So this shows the block diagram of a traffic monitoring system. The traffic will be cleared for the ambulance to move. This is already has been established, so that has been interfaced with LoRa. And internal monitoring system, this is fully established with the LoRa device. And here the various sensors such as accelerometer sensor, blood pressure sensor, pulse rate sensor, temperature sensor, and glucose monitoring, and the fetal movement, all these things are associated to the microcontroller, and that information will be transmitted to the gateway and to the end network server. It will be connected. Here, if you see the online transmission of the patient details, the caretaker has to fill what is the identity or name of the patient, what is the gender, male or female, and what is the patient, and what is the conscious level of the patient. All these details from the patient will be taken, and this has been stored in the Things Network cloud. And this could be transmitted to the hospital as well as to the in accident cases to the police station also it can be sent. And we did an experiment of receiving all these blood pressure, pulse rate, temperature measured. It has been shown by uh, right screen shows the received signal data. Sorry. Now I will show you a video on how this prototype is being used. This is a video of the prototype which we have developed for this maternal e-health monitoring system. With the support of the students, we could establish this prototype. The figure shows the LoRa module which has been connected to the ambulance. A model car has been used here, and a nearby hospital has been identified by this ambulance using the traffic light monitoring. Traffic monitoring system. It reaches the nearby hospital without any delay, and it has been intimated to the hospital as well. The hospital has already received the details of the patient. On receiving the details, this is the transmission of data from the ambulance to the hospital. This transmission, and later on a separate reception will be shown. The LoRa device in the hospital is receiving the data, and this device is connected to another PC, and it is receiving the details about the patient. And the various references which regarding this LoRa has been displayed here. Any questions regarding the so far presentation is welcome. Am I audible? Any questions? Regarding various applications, we have done one application for precision agriculture. That is fertigation is a new application area in the precision agriculture, where the fertilizer as well as the irrigation water that is needed for particular plantation can be limited to the that is we have already discussed. We already know about the flood irrigation and the drip irrigation. This fertigation will be transmitting the that is it will be taking the water along with the fertilizer to the nearness to, and the parameters such as NPK and the soil moisture, temperature, all those humidity parameters are measured, and that can be communicated to the end device, and the actuator can be operated based on how much level of fertilizer has to be added and what is the level of water that has to be transmitted to the plants. All these things can be limited.
Ma'am, I want to ask one question that can we replace LoRa with Wi-Fi technology?
Wi-Fi is actually short range compared to long range communication, that is LoRaWAN. Wi-Fi, we will be usually facing various problems. In real time, we will be seeing a single access point connected to various devices will be limited to a particular distance. That distance is very less. It is around 1 kilometer distance itself is not possible with Wi-Fi. You could already know. If we are in an airport, a Wi-Fi link will be provided to us. only within the premises of the airport we were able to access that network. When we come out of that area, we could not access. But this LoRa can have a distance of nearly 5 kilometers within an urban area, and for a remote area, it could be nearly 15 kilometers. The communication is possible.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Thank you. And Gunjan, ma'am, can you please continue?
There are few more questions in the chat box. Ma'am, your echo is coming in your voice. So can you mute one speaker? Like I think you have logged in by mobile as well as from your laptop. Yes.
I have not connected in the. I have only connected in the laptop. I have not connected through mobile.
Uh, okay, fine, ma'am. Echo is coming. The questions you can see in the chat box. Next question is, what are the LoRa type for the LoRa board used in the India?
The
What are the LoRa type of the LoRa board used in the India?
it is echoing. I could not hear you.
Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, what are the LoRa types of LoRa board used in India?
LoRaWAN has been used for various applications. We were associated with a industry where it is ready to deploy real-time application devices for various applications. We were associated with them through that industry. We were working for various projects. Shortly, we will be able to use for various applications. This LoRa can be used in real-time applications. We were working on it. It can be used for home automation, wireless alarm, smart metering, smart grid applications. It can be used for industrial control applications. And there is another question: what is the difference between LoRaWAN with Raspberry Pi? Raspberry Pi is the device where your LoRa device can be connected with Raspberry Pi as well, and it can be connected to a network. So now LoRaWAN with Raspberry Pi research is going on, and we were working on it such a way interfacing a Raspberry Pi with LoRaWAN could also be possible for various applications.
Okay. Ma'am, I have a question. Am I audible?
Question is there. Frequency band of LoRa in India.
In India, it is 865 megahertz. 865 to 67 we'll be using. Name, it has been asked, it is SX1276 or 127778. Any of the model can be used.
Questions are in chat box. I think you can see. Can the range of the LoRa be improved? If possible, what is the procedure?
The range of LoRa be improved. If possible, what is the procedure? Already it has been taking a coverage range of 15 kilometers. Within that 15-kilometer range, if you connect another LoRa device, that has been proved till 3 kilometers, the connectivity has been established. So it is possible. From one device to the other device to the other device, likewise connectivity can be established.
Hassan, you were asking something?
Yes, ma'am. Am I
I
audible?
answered all the questions.
Am I audible, ma'am?
Hassan, please ask your question.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, is there any LoRa device which can be controlled without using the microcontroller like Brain? Is there any integrated like Node MCU we can use without Arduino? We can use Wi-Fi technology in Node MCU. Is there any LoRa board which can be used without microcontroller?
Come again.
Ma'am, is there any LoRa board in India which can be used without any microcontroller?
already any end device, LoRa device will have its own microcontroller linked with the facility of physical layer, facility of chip spread spectrum. So you cannot change the total microcontroller to a different one. You can interface the LoRa device with any other device.
And ma'am, what are the views like if it can replace the Internet of Things with Wi-Fi? Will LoRa be more beneficial in replacing Internet of Things?
Yes, IoT applications. If we are going to depend on the regular internet, some remote area we may not have the connectivity. In such situation, this LoRa device without any internet facility place, if the end module and the gateways are available for any particular application without the internet connectivity itself, the data can be transmitted and received and operations can be done. Only when end device need to be connected to the internet, that is to the things network, through when we want to connect it to the mobile only, we need a internet. Otherwise, no need of any internet.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Madam, I'm having one doubt. Hello.
Hello.
Madam, I'm having one doubt. Suppose you are explaining the concept about LoRa and LoRaWAN. My
Yes.
doubt is how we can configure the LoRa node and LoRaWAN. If we give any reference materials or reference sites, it is very useful for us to.
Yes, the
to our
references has been listed in my slide. You can use those reference slides for establishing the configuration. Every details is available. I will send the link to madam and you could receive those links.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for clearing all our doubts. And now, as we have come to the end of our session, so I would request all the participants and all the members to please check your video connection at least on your video, and so that we can take the group pic. I request our principal sir and Gunjan ma'am and HOD sir and Bisoi sir to please on their video so that we can take the group pic.
Fine, Shreya. I would like to request Miss Principal sir, please on your video.
And I have one information for the students.
Yes, ma'am.
There is an opportunity for the students through IEEE. We are organizing every year IEEE SS12. I will share the link www.IEEE12.org. Kindly view this website. There is opportunity to participate. It is an international project competition event organized by IEEE, and the international forum. It has been conducted for the past 7 years. and it is having a very good reputation in the IEEE environment. Students, those who are interested in participating in this international project competition, this link, and I am one of the track chair. There were 5 different tracks available. One track is for girls, particularly V Power track. One track is for innovative students, innovation track, and for regular competitors, fair track is available. And particularly for healthcare and disaster management, there is a special track available. And there is one another track called the Junior Einstein track, and I am the in charge of that track. That is for the school students. Apart from that, other tracks will be useful for the college students. Other 4 tracks are for the college students. Only one track for the school students is available. So they can visit this website and they can participate in the event.
Is it fine, Shreya? Shreya,
Yes,
am
ma'am.
I
Yes,
audible?
we
Is
are
it
done
fine?
with the picture. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Principal sir is also with video. Please take the pictures.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you,
We
participants.
are done with the pictures, ma'am.
Okay, thank you very much. On behalf of IEEE JSS ATN student branch, I, Ms. Gunjan Vashne, branch counselor, would like to thank one and all present in this webinar today. By Dr. Meenakshi on LoRa Advanced Communication. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am, for giving your valuable time for our participants and for this wonderful session. Thank you very much, ma'am. Now, I would like to give thanks JSS management and especially our principal sir, Dr. G.M. Patil, for his constant support and motivation. Thank you, sir. Next, I would like to give thanks our HOD, Dr. Sanjeev Kumar Sharma, for his everlasting support and encouragement towards our branch. Thank you, sir. I would like to give thanks to our coordinator, Dr. Sanjiba Bisoi sir, and my special thanks to my IEEE team who was working day and night to make this event to a great success. Thank you, my team. At the end, I want to give thanks to all our participants across the globe for their overwhelming response for this webinar. Thank you, everyone. Thank you very much. Over to Shreya.
Thank you, Principal Sir. Thank you, HOD Sir. Thank you, Gunjan Ma'am. And thank you, Meenakshi Ma'am, for giving us time and for making this event successful and for your views. And we are very much overwhelmed by your presence. And thank you, everyone. And now we can end this.
Thank you very much.
We'll connect you in next events
Kunju ma'am,
also.
we will be associated in further as well.
Yeah. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Will
Definitely, we will
will be
collaborate
more
with
than happy to call
next
you some
events.
physical activity or some lecture at our Institute GSS Edu in Noida campus. Definitely, we will invite you physically in advancement. If certain activity is there, definitely we will looking forward to your cooperation and presence.
Principal sir, do you want to say anything? Principal sir?
The mic on कीजिए sir, mic mute है आपका sir. Principal sir, mic mute है.
Yeah, unmuted. In fact, it was a great opportunity
Participant,
for
just
me.
wait for 2 minutes. Principal sir is there.
It was a great opportunity for me to be part of the IEEE event organized by our IEEE chapter under the mentorship. The faculty coordinators of the IEEE chapter. That's for us. Okay. Invited Dr. Alagu Meenakshi Madam. A wonderful lecture today. On my own behalf, on behalf of our the head of the department, Dr. Sanjeev Kumar Sharma, coordinators Gunjan Vashne and Bishu, all the student office bearers of our IEEE chapter. Pains to organize this program and invite Dr. Alagu Meenakshi Madam for this event. Students on LoRa communications. It was really a wonderful and inspiring lecture. All the details of LoRa communication technology for IoT M2M. It was a new dimension of knowledge. The lecture was very inspiring and rich in information. Madam has delivered the lecture with involvement and lecture was so interesting that he made the point very clear to all of us about the various technology aspects of LoRa communications. She is a and teacher with the passion. I am very much impressed by the wonderful presentation of Dr. Alagu Meenakshi Madam. We look forward that we have more opportunities and occasions to interact with Dr. Alagu Meenakshi Madam, and we will try to invite her in our future activities in our institution and keep in touch with her, and let us try to help one another in the academics, research, and further development for enriching the knowledge of our students. With this, I thank Madam, Dr. Alagu Meenakshi Madam, for taking the pains to prepare the presentation on this topic, a very interesting topic. Even in this, the lockdown of the pandemic, caused by COVID-19. The best way, the best means to keep ourselves engaged academically and enriching the knowledge, doing research, and using the time in a productive way. The online education is playing a vital role, and our students have taken all the the pains to identify the resource person, Dr. Alagu Meenakshi Madam. It was really a wonderful session. I am sure that the online education is going to be the way forward in the coming days, because we can exchange knowledge, get benefit of the knowledge of the researchers and academicians in India and abroad. So with these few words, I once again thank Madam Dr. Alagu Meenakshi Madam for her wonderful presentation, and we look forward that we again invite Madam for on other occasions to our institution and have a opportunity of hearing to her. Thank you very much, Madam. So kind of you. I also thank Dr. Sanjeev Kumar Sharma, the head of the EE department, and also the IEEE chapter coordinators, faculty coordinators, Dr. Gunjan Vashne and Dr. Sandeep Bishu, and the office bearers, the student office bearers, and the team of students, volunteers, who have made this event a great success. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Shreya, please unmute all. Yeah. Thank you very much, sir. Our principal, sir, Dr. Sanjeeva Bisoi, sir, HOD EE department, Dr. Sanjeev Kumar Sharma, HOD EE department, Dr. Sanjeev Bisoi, sir, our branch coordinator, and Gunjan Vashne, ma'am, our branch counselor. Thank you for joining our session. And last but not the least, Dr. Alagu Manisha, ma'am, for hosting such an amazing webinar. Students, webinar, and we are getting a very positive response from the team and the participants who have attended the webinar, and it was a great success. Thank you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Everyone, now we are ending to the event. We are ending the meeting. Thank you, everyone. Please fill the feedback form to get the certificates. Thank you, ma'am, once again.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Association with you all.
Sure.